You are listening to the Kelly Podcast on the Real, live with El Sassa Radio.
Well, hello there. So who's here now? The Kelly Podcast. How you doing, Kelly?
Hey, how are you?
Well, you know, we're having so much fun here with you today because one of the things that I really enjoy the most, you be impressed with what I'm gonna say, but I love being in this show because this show, it's actually amazing. Let's get started recording this show. Boom, there you go. We're live here on the Kelly Podcast with the one and only Kelly on the Real. so Kelly, so you are live here with us on the Kelly Podcast. So tell me a little bit about you. I mean, I want to know. I mean, how is your day? I mean,
let me tell you about my day. So
Yes.
I did some cheerleaders' hair.
Okay.
And you gotta make it big. And these girls are about to go out in the field and do some cheering for and hopefully we win tonight. So, it was a lot of fun. I always love to get a hold of little girls' hair and fix their hair. And
Really?
it was cute. It was really cute, and they looked good. And it just, it was one of those days. I let my dog out, I let him outside, and he decided to eat up everything.
Oh my God, no,
I was
he
like,
did not.
come on. So, I just looked at it and I was like, I'm not even gonna mess with this right now. I don't have the head for it. I'm gonna get a headache looking at it. So I just kind of got in my car and left.
You did?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not messing with this. It's too much sometimes.
And what was that? I mean, what was the deal with that?
No, that's just he's rot. I have a rot, German rot. And,
Okay.
He's a big boy, and I just I don't like to see animals cooped up for long periods of time.
Okay.
I actually paid like $1,000 one time for a personal trainer.
Okay.
And they said, hey, if you leave your animal in a crate, it's like their home.
Okay.
So I don't know. He just kept moving around. I was like, I feel so bad for him. So I just let him outside. And I did. I let him outside to play. Next thing you know, all of my lawn pillows, everything that I like, all my pretty stuff was all over the yard. I was like, oh, no. But it's okay.
Really?
Yeah,
and,
it happens.
And let me ask you, I didn't know you did hair.
I actually went to school for hair after I went to school for paralegal.
Okay.
On one of my adventures, I tell people that, I'm a woman of many, many careers,
Talents.
talents, I guess you could say, because I actually, believe it or not, when I was younger, I had this idea. I wanted to be an actress. Always wanted to be. I love acting.
Okay.
But I wanted to marry, and this is funny. People laugh at me, but it's fascinating to me. It's a fascination. I always wanted to marry into the mafia. And and it's always been my biggest, I was fascinated with it.
Why were you? That's my question.
I think for me, it's just that kind of life. I think it's always been really fascinating to me. And just there's so many different adventures, and it's like a new thing every day. And so people are always like, really? Did you really? Yes, that stuff was fascinating to me. And it's not a game. It's just something I wanted to do. I loved the way the people present themselves, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And the fashion they do it in, and I don't know. It's just one of those things I always said, okay, one day I'm gonna marry into the mafia.
I love mafia movies. When I was growing up as a kid, I got so many mafia movies. Donnie Brasco, I have a bunch. There were so many mafia movies. Any good mafia movies you liked?
Oh, I always love Godfather is up there.
Okay.
It's up there.
Okay.
But when we talk about, everybody has a different idea of mafia movies. To me, it is just about power. the power behind it, the control behind it, and seeing how much power one can have with themselves. So there's one out there that nobody ever hears about, and actually Catherine Zeta-Jones plays the character.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of the movie, but it is really, really good. And I watched it, and her character is unbelievable.
Wow.
Because you see her, and she's this beautiful woman, carries herself very, very well. But when you see that movie and the things that she does in the movie, it is mind-blowing to me.
Okay.
And, I mean, she plays it very, very well. So that one, I'm trying to think let me look what it's called, because I really want you guys to watch it.
Okay.
You will be blown away with her performance in those movies. It's really, really cool. But I'm going to show you.
Tell us a little bit.
Let me see.
I wanna know. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You're going to love it. Oh, okay. Cocaine Godmother.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen it?
Okay. Yes. I mean, is that about a lady that's in Massachusetts and then no?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mexico. I think she's in Mexico.
Okay, she's in Mexico.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
tell
so.
us. Tell us.
She's actually she is like a real day, modern day cocaine transporter.
Okay.
And so she does these scenes, but she carries them all the way back. The women, she's the one that first showed them how to sew kilos into their clothing and all of that stuff. It was really, really cool. And her character in that movie was so spot on. Because she had an abusive relationship with her man. She had kids, everything. She finally got the power, started doing all of that, selling all of that stuff, got out, moved on away, and then she ended up with all this power. But the only thing that got her in the movie is, they always say don't use your product. Well, she ended up developing a very bad habit.
Okay.
And so it was really good. It was really, really good. She played it very, very well.
Wow.
She had actually a husband in the movie, and then at the same time, she had this young girlfriend in the movie the whole time. So, for that character to, for her to have that in that character, it was just crazy to me.
Man,
really cool.
So let me ask you, I mean, what made you want to feel like you wanted to marry like a mafia guy? Like that, those are things that, I feel like not every woman wants to get married with a mafia guy.
Yeah.
What's so attractive about them?
I think it's just the way, honestly, maybe the way they carry themselves.
Okay.
Just, when one walks in the room, they own the room.
You think so?
They have that mentality. They have that swagger about them.
They have a little swag.
It's just, they come in and okay, that's a boss.
Okay.
That's a boss.
Okay.
And, and in the way, yes, and I know, in movies, they all have several women. All of them have it. That's just how it is. But I think that's what it is. And just, when you're younger, some girls have this idea of this great, guy on a horse taking care of them, right?
Okay.
And most of them do. They take care of the women. And I think that's it, rolled up in a ball with, okay, they're going to protect and do things. And I think that was it. Because as a child, I didn't have that. I didn't really have all of that stuff. And I think I was searching for it. And, when it's out there and you see it in movies, you're kind of drawn to it a little bit. So, yeah, maybe an odd one for saying that, but it was true. It was true. But, yeah, my priorities obviously have changed.
How did it change? Because I want to ask you, how did it go from being with someone that you wanted to be in the mafia from not being on the mafia?
You get
that's
into acting.
Okay, so then you became the wife.
You get into acting, and then you can play all of those characters that you want to play in
Okay.
real life. All the things you wanted to do in your real life, you actually can play.
Air here, but at the end of the day, we on the computer and we're still live here. Thank God our computer is on and it's not the one that we really want to be down. But
okay.
keep going, Kelly.
Yeah,
so tell me what really changed it. I'll fix that for you and we'll go from there. So go ahead.
I think I started living a little bit of that life, and I can see how quickly you can get wrapped up in it and go to dark places. And when you really start living it and you really start doing those things and you really are around, all of that stuff, it can take you to dark places really quickly. So I had to find myself and really just go out of the country. I mean, I took myself and I went out of the country. I did some mission work. I did some stuff like that. And I realized, you know what, this probably isn't the life for me. Yeah, it's fun to play parts of movies. I love the acting part of it. But in real life now, you either end up dead, you end up in prison.
Okay.
You end up, it just doesn't work out. And all that stuff anyways, honestly, in your heart. But we all have those things. So what is yours? Tell me about what you wanted to do.
Well, you know what?
Besides being, what was it? The swagger at the club.
Well, I had a little swag in there. You know what I mean? I had a little swag in there, a little bit here and there. I wasn't maybe as swaggy dog as you were, but I could tell you right now that you know what? One thing that I gotta thank the Lord is that if I would have been a gangster, I probably would have been an amazing one. You know why? Yeah. Because one of the things about me is I give back to the community, and I could have been like, growing up, you'd be amazed, Kelly, what I used to do. I used to watch Peter Pan, and I used to say, hey, I'm about to go do that one day and help the poor ones. So you get to do those things, Exactly. One of the things that I tell people is this, man. We all have things that we want to do when we are young and little. As we get older, our life changes. And it changes so much. And I wanted to ask you this because it has changed so much for us, Kelly. This is my question for you. I know today we're going to talk about parents and kids.
His, mine, and ours.
Yeah. What's the title of today's show?
It's the title of today is His, Mine, Ours. And the reason that came about is we were discussing, what it's like. We live in a modern world where most everyone, when you get a little older, they have kids. They've had kids.
The title of today's show is His. I'm gonna put it here. What is it? His,
comma, mine, comma, and ours.
Okay, mine and
just mine.
Okay, I'll change it.
Ours.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me take the S here. Mine and ours, right?
Yes.
So and that's gonna be, and it talks about children, right?
Yeah, it's children in blended families.
In blended family. Let me put it here, blended family. So people are asking me, how can I find you on YouTube? They can log in and subscribe to our channel, El Sassa Radio, and you can find it under the Kelly Podcast Reel, on the reel, and it's going to say featuring Sassa in there, so you guys can see it in there, so that way you guys can see it. So tell us a little bit, how did you came with this?
I just see, I talk to so many people on a daily basis. I mean, so many that sometimes I will hide out. And people laugh because they're like, where have you been? Sometimes you just got to give yourself a minute. You give yourself a break, with life, because I lead a double life.
Okay.
And that's for real. I have my life, my career for modeling, acting, podcast, I just go on, and then I have my real life, where I actually, go to schools, and, I do mission works, and, I do all kinds of things for other people. So I was thinking about, all of the kids out there and all the blended families that I know, and how it works. We live in a modern day society.
Okay.
And we see it every single day. We see thousands. I went over this one time in a podcast about the thousands of websites out there. And when you click on a picture, you're clicking on that person, right? That person doesn't show, okay, I've got 2 or 3 kids, or I've got this baggage with me. I've got exes.
That's right.
It doesn't say all that. It says, Carly Sue, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'5", whatever. But it doesn't get the actual descriptive of the person.
That's right.
And so I was thinking about that, and we got to start being, when you're in the dating world, you got to be real. You got to be real, because when someone's going through, I mean, we may be drop dead gorgeous. I mean, I think everybody's beautiful anyway.
Yes.
But I think it's so important to put, yes, I have children. Yes, I have baggage. Yes, all that stuff. Because if you're looking and you're wanting any type of relationship, you've got to be upfront. You've got to be upfront about all of those things. And so you got to think about, okay, which kind of man or woman am I trying to attract? Number one.
Yes.
Do these people have children? Am I okay with this person having a child or children?
That's right.
And these are all things that, that are so important. Because, what if you have a child or 2 children, and then he's got 2 children, all right, and he's got an ex, you got an ex. You got to really blend. You got to know how to blend those families. And you got to do it well. It's like a mastermind. You got to be a mastermind behind it.
And you do. And one of the things that I tell people is this: you got to be able to know exactly what you're getting into, because when you meet somebody at my age, you won't be able to meet anybody that just doesn't have any kids.
Right.
You're going to be meeting women with children at this age. So you can't come here and tell me, okay, that we're not going to meet, that I'm going to meet somebody who doesn't have any children. I mean, at this age, I feel like at this age, most women that I meet in today's world, they are going to have children.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. So, I'm just telling you this because I know exactly how tough it is in the real world when you look for people out there. So have you ever met any man who at a certain age doesn't have any children, and you ask yourself, why don't you have children at this age?
I have, and most of the time it's we kind of sometimes start getting wrapped up in our work, and in our careers and things like that.
Okay.
And so maybe he's just waiting for the right one to come along. maybe he's just waiting for him to get himself in, and he just started getting his priorities straight, or she started getting her life together.
Okay.
So we can't ever judge it. I mean, it's definitely not something we can ever judge, or just be like, okay, there's something wrong with him or her.
Okay.
I don't see it like that, because maybe they just wanted to get themselves together. Maybe they graduated college late, or maybe they decided, hey, I want to have a house first. I want to have everything together before I start a family. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. In today's modern world, do we see that very often? No,
we don't.
We don't. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong. I think it's, I would love to see, I think it'd be really cool, because I think they would, if you got your stuff together and you're looking for that love of your life, and she's has that person, as herself, she's trying to get herself together, when you happen to meet, oh my gosh, that to me is amazing.
That's right.
It is unbelievable. And I feel like, God has a lot to do with that, because God puts the perfect person in your life at the perfect time.
Listen to this. Sometimes the significant other we have researched for our lives turns out to be more than we expected. A father or a mother, it can be difficult for children involved to get used to a new adults in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you're not a parent, it can be hard to get used to interacting with children. It can lead to unexpected challenges to making things work with your significant other. Right. However, these problems don't have to span door to door or doom the relationship.
Right.
So you can work on a bonding with children and your partner in so many ways. Number one is developing a relationship with your children. Okay.
Yes.
It's very important to keep the first interaction with them very simple. Okay.
So
and we can get away. And we can get away. It's always good. Go ahead.
Let me ask you about that. You developed a relationship. Are you talking about the significant other or yourself?
See, when I meet a woman that has children, I meet a woman with children. When I meet that person, I personally can tell you this right now. I try to win her heart. I try to win her heart by winning her children as well, because their children are very important in her life.
Right.
So they should be important in my life as well. So if children mean something to me, then if she means something to me, the children will also mean something to me.
So what if she's not at a point where she wants anyone to meet her children?
I get a lot of women that always say that I don't want to meet any. I don't want my children to meet any man. You got to give them time.
Yeah,
it's about giving them time. First of all, when a woman introduces her children, it's because you really are special and you mean something to that woman.
Absolutely.
Now, is it good for her to introduce you? Yes, but it needs to be able to know this relationship is stable.
Yes,
because a relationship can be stable in any time. The problem is when a lot of times us men want to meet their children right away because we feel like, man, I got to meet your kids first already. You got to give them time. Allow the relationship with the children to develop slowly. It's very important for them to understand. Ask the children about what's new in their lives since whenever the situation, arise. Okay? Right. Follow up with the children. Okay? Tell them about things that you are excited about doing together as a new family.
Yes. Yes.
As a new partner in your life, which is his mother. Most of the time, we don't do that. Guys don't seem to go ahead and do this. Why? We don't do this because guess what? We don't want to go ahead and take time, to get to know the person.
And let me tell you, when you don't take time, you don't invest that time that you supposedly, because you supposedly love or care, cherish the mama or the daddy, that relationship will go nowhere. And it will for a minute, but it's going to fall. It will eventually tumble, because then the kids start feeling that resentment. the kids start feeling that division and like they're not important enough. And and I'm just going to be honest. When my mother married my stepfather, he has kids, and I have never even met those children. I never met them.
Okay.
I don't even know their names really. I don't know anything about them. And to me, it's when she says, "Oh, your stepsister
Yes.
or a step," and I'm like, I got a sister. I've got a sister. I got my biological siblings because
Yes.
I don't know them. And so that's one thing that is so important. When you start developing this relationship together, it's not just you and that person.
That's
now, it is the kids, on both sides. So you have to find the time, even if they're on different hours or whatever. You've got to find the time and get those children bonded, because those children, the better and stronger bond they have, the better that you and your spouse are going to get along, and you're going to work things out better.
That's
and
right.
you're going to be able to be on the same page. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And another thing you want to do is you have to do joint activities with the new children.
Absolutely.
Joint activities could be, man, you know what? Let's go buy a pizza and create our own pizza.
I like that.
Because kids love pizza. And then the mom can see that you're trying to win their heart. Hey, why don't we just go, you know what? Let's all just go hang out and let's go have some fun. Go to Laser Quest. And you know what? And do some laser tagging with each other. You'll be amazed how many children love that stuff.
Yeah.
And parents would love it as well too. Develop the relationship with trust and honesty. If the children talk to you about private issues, don't feel uncomfortable going to each other and giving them advice as if they were your little brother or your little sister.
Right.
I mean, what do you think about that?
I think you bring up some really strong points, and here's one that to me I see it a lot.
Okay.
I see women or guys, they will go from relationship to relationship. So this child gets confused and has no idea, like, okay, mom or dad had this person last week and this person this week and this person and this person, and they're trying to figure out, like, is this a father figure?
Yes.
Is this a mother figure?
Yes.
So you have to be very careful about who you bring so quickly into your child's life. Yeah, it's great to hang out and be friends, but you can't go, date person to person to me and then introduce them all to your children, because it sets up for confusion. They don't understand. They don't get it. Because they're just looking for whole family. They're
Yes.
looking for family. And, so I think when it comes to that, just be careful. Definitely be careful about who you bring into your children's life. The other thing is that I see that really, really, gosh, it drives me crazy. It really bothers me. And I see it a lot on the news.
What do you see in the news? Tell me.
These mothers, right? They'll meet these guys.
Okay.
And they'll jump into relationships, and they'll leave them. They'll go off to work.
Really?
Oh yeah, I see it on the news a lot. And they'll go off to work, and they'll leave their baby. And they may not know this guy from 1 week, 2 weeks, and they leave their child with this new person. And then boom, something happens. Something bad happens, because number one, the girl doesn't know him like that at all. Number two, you should never leave your child with somebody you really don't know. And then how do you know if that guy or that girl doesn't have a background, a temperament, or is abusive,
That's right.
pedophiles? How do you know any of that stuff?
You make sense. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, and this is something we talked about: giving the relationship, making and ask support to your significant others. Another good one. Another good one. And listen to this for people that are listening to us and people that are tuning in with us. If you're having trouble with your significant other children's disrespecting you, treating you badly, then you should discuss it with your partner. Okay? They are the biological parents and should not allow their kids to disrespect you in any way and make efforts towards at least giving you the opportunity to make peace between you. They're never going to tell you you need to accept me, because people don't need to accept nobody. Okay? Sometimes the words of parents can intervene in between the relationship and the problem.
And you know what happens there, Sassa, is when a child disrespects the other one, that is not the biological, when they start disrespecting, a lot of times that parent has so much guilt on them already because they got out of a marriage, or they weren't, they just got out of a marriage. They have a little bit of guilt because they started dating, right? So then they feel guilty, and they kind of want to shelter that child. They think, oh, well, little Johnny has been hurt. He's not used to this yet. And so then there another problem creates, because you're trying to protect little Johnny's feelings, but I have to also remember that you got to straighten little Johnny out, because, if it doesn't stop and it continues, it's going to separate you and your new spouse, you and your new mate, because nobody wants to be disrespected. And then that's the other problem is you get those kids that say, oh, well, you're not my daddy. You're not my mama.
That's right.
I can call my dad. I can call my mom. That right there, you got to put your foot down. That's something you've got to put your foot down and be like, hey, I know this isn't your biological father or your biological mother, but you will have respect. And it doesn't matter if it's for you or the neighbor across the street. You've got to have respect. And so I see a lot of that, and it's kind of sad, and we're in this new modern world where we have allowed children to disrespect our elders.
Okay.
And that's got to stop. It's got to stop. I see it in the stores, kids throwing fits. You're not my mom. I hate you. You're not my dad. And it's just like,
wow.
What happened? What happened to society where we have let our children be the bosses in our lives? What happened there?
It's very difficult, and it's very hard, because I'll tell you one thing, Kelly. One of the things that I really never understood is how can parents allow this, because there's a lot of people trying to be parents or being parents, and they don't need to be parents, because especially the younger community having children, not showing them values of respect and being polite and being just a very respectful kid, it's forgotten.
Yeah, it is. It is almost forgotten.
People have forgotten this, and it's really sad, because we try to empathize with children and significant our other children's significant parents, and getting your significant or your other children or your partner's children, how you want to call it, to accept you might be challenging.
Right.
For the children, the situation can be scary and confusing at times, and it can maybe be hurtful, because we try to, telling them you need to behave, you need to be good, and sometimes they might not feel ready for that development.
Right.
And that relationship just needs to go one step. Remember, the children have dealt with a divorce or death in the family, a separation. I mean, they move from their home. They change schools. They may have lost a friend, or even, they just.
It's hard.
It's hard.
And the parents.
We have to be patient.
We have to be patient. We have to. It doesn't mean we can allow them to disrespect us. That doesn't mean that at all. But we have to be understanding as where was our child before? What happened?
That's right.
We flipped their world got flipped upside down somehow. So we have to give them time. Time is probably the number one thing to me. Giving a child time. When you give them time and you don't hop in, and we don't hop into another relationship, we've got to give them time to process, understand, to grieve, to be able to understand what is going on, because some of these kids are so small, They have no idea where mama went or daddy went. They don't know. And so, well, number one, you got to explain to your child, hey, things didn't work out, and this is where we're at. You've got to explain. And if you don't think that they're old enough or mature enough to understand, they do understand, and they will process it. You've got to help them and be there for them to process it. No, you don't have to go in depth about things, but you've got to explain it to them on their level, and you've got to really be understanding and loving, and then give yourself time before you jump out and get into something else, because then you're just bringing your child and the problems, your problems, their problems, right into another relationship. And then that relationship starts getting a wall and things built, because that child hasn't had time to heal. And do you think they're ever going to look at you with respect? They have a hard time. They're really going to have over time they grow, and they'll mature, and they start getting attached, and they start respecting. But it takes a long time. It does. It takes a long time for that.
And we talk about this stuff. This is such a great subject, because we all gonna meet somebody in our lives. If we had a separation, if we had a breakup, if we had a divorce, if we start a new life, we all gonna go through these issues, and understanding that children still want their parents to be together is very difficult. Sometimes the children may not be resistant to the idea of you because of anything that you have done. Remember this: kids may be holding on the hope that their parents are going to get together.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And when you enter into the family, you become a reminder that their parents will no longer be together. And what happens with that? Allowing children in time to work through the hurt and grief that their parents would never reunite. This doesn't just happen to young kids. Many older kids keep hoping their parents will still get together one day, because divorces are very, very high. Now, do you know, Generation Z's, Gen Z's, millennials are probably getting divorced still, but Gen Z's don't believe in divorces.
Right. It's true.
And I love that, because Gen Z's have gone through divorces.
Old school.
Yeah, they're very old school, because it seems like it's going back to the retro. Because
Thank you.
This is the thing. Gen Z's tend to go ahead and start having the same values as mom and dad did once. We don't have those values as we once did, because millennials changed a lot. We started changing when they started coming. Yes. Gen Z's want a better planet.
Yes.
They want to be more social involved.
They want family.
They want more family. They don't get married young. They get married at a right age, making sure that they do marry the right person, because they are going to college more, getting prepared. They're not only doing these things, but they're getting involved with issues in politics that involve family issues on a day-to-day. So we need to avoid the common mistakes we tend to do, and avoiding them is trying to replace the other parent.
Right.
Am I right on that?
Yeah, it's definitely true. And you can't replace the other parent. It is impossible to replace the other parent. Okay. You have to respect that person, that child, no matter how much you want to be a part of that child, you got to let that child come to you. And, that child's mother or father is always going to be, hopefully always going to be a part of their life somehow, some form. It's a very hard subject. It really is, because you got to respect both sides of it. You got to respect the child and the parent as well. And so when you're trying to combine those things, and you got to make everything match up before you're ready to go on that dating ride or whatever, you've got to make it match up, and you got to make sure that child is ready to date. Just, you're dating, but that child is also dating too, because you're coming home with emotions. You're coming home, bringing people or whatever in and out of their lives and whatever. So you got to make sure that child is just as ready as you are.
And you know, we need to stop. Don't tell the children of the other person that you are the mother or you are the father now. This can cause problems in the relationship. And it may feel guilty and start to feel that they're going to feel out of love from you because of the affection you're trying to build on them.
They'll resent you.
That's right. Some kids may feel guilty when they start to feel like, I need to love you more than I love my father or my mother. Okay. Now, how do you feel about parents getting involved? Like, I got a friend of mine that just got divorced. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send her this. She might hate me for this, but I'm gonna go ahead and record myself. Hopefully, she can hear me. Let me see if I can just go ahead and put the little.
You're really doing that.
I'm gonna record myself because you know what? She's gone through this, and actually, I'm gonna send it to her like this, and I know. And I know she's gonna hear me. So check this out. How do you feel about you're going through a divorce as a woman, or you got divorced already? You finished the divorce. Then the father is still calling you, and is still trying to get things they're like really smooth, and then you still pick up the phone and you still talk to him like nothing, and to me that to me is disrespectful from his part. 2, you need to cut it off and say bye. 3, how do you feel about a woman telling him, I need to know who my kids are gonna be with, how they're gonna be with. I mean, how do you feel that? Because I have a personal thing about that, Kelly.
Okay, what do you mean?
Okay, like for example, so let's say, okay, the mother of my children, she's gonna meet another person. First of all, when I went through my divorce with her and my separation and my kids were little, I told her, man, you are a grown woman and you are old already for you to be thinking mature. So whoever you bring in my children's life is your decision, and it's your how do I say? It's your right to make sure that you're doing the right thing. 1, 2, you have to know who you're bringing into your life as well as bringing into my kids' life. So I'm no need to meet this guy, and I don't need to be out there trying to be like me and you. It's cool like that. You do handle you, and I'm gonna handle me. So I didn't have to introduce any women that I dated to my kids and to her, because you know what? I told her when she started telling me, I need to know who's this woman. I said, no, you don't. I'm a grown man. I know who I'm bringing into my kids' life. There's no need for you to get involved in my life or her life or any life. You need to worry about you. So a lot of women tend to want to be like still controlling. I mean, and I don't know why.
It is because they're still
you're
hung
grown,
up.
right? You're still grown. You're 40, you're 50, you're 30. And you need to let him know he is the father. He's an adult now. He needs to know, hey, I'm bringing this girl and she's good or bad. That's his decision. Right. Oh, I need to know who you're bringing, because if something happens to my kids, if he's a father and he's responsible, he's going to bring responsible people around his kids.
I kind of see both sides of that, and here's why.
Tell me.
Because number one, she's still hung up on the person. Okay, well, I'll just say she or he or whatever is still hung up on the person. Otherwise, they wouldn't care who you're dating.
Okay.
Honestly. Number 2, my kids are one of my highest priorities. Okay. Do I care who you're dating? No, it's not my business. Every girl you date. Okay. Now, when you get serious. Now, I expect you not to bring these people around my children. You know, I think unless it's a serious situation. When that time comes, I think it's important. And I'm not saying that you have to sit down and have Sunday brunch with this other mate all the time. I'm not saying that. You don't have to go have mimosas every Sunday and get together with your exes and all of that. No. But I think, to me, I think if you can be cordial and be mature adults, you can say, hey, this is so-and-so. This is who I've dated for a year, you know, or whatever. And this is who I'm going to marry, or whatever your goals are. And, you know, I'm bringing you this person because I have intentions on marrying them. And they are going to be part of our children's life forever.
Okay, if you tell me that as a person, I'll take it, and I digest it, and I say I'll get back with you, but I appreciate what you said, okay? But when you tell me like I didn't know who's gonna be picking up my kids, first of all, I mean, you should have known already who picking up your kids. Am I right? Exactly. Like, and second of all, if that's a man, he shouldn't be sending another woman to pick up his kids.
Right.
And third of all, if you don't feel like you don't feel like you wanting her to take your kids, don't need to give your kids. Stay with them and tell them you need to pick up your own kids. You are the father. She is not the father.
Right.
Am I right on that?
Yeah,
so don't make it like you trying to be like, oh, I'm being protected to my kids. You're not being protected. You being immature.
You're being immature. It's immature, and I see that. And people think that they can still hang on to you if they feel like they can have some kind of control over what you're doing. Then they feel like, oh, I still have him or her. So then that's why they don't want to give up that control. Because they feel like if he's not telling me, he's really moved on. That's what it really boils down to. Because if you're not telling them and you say, hey, it's none of your concern, it's not your business, I will make sure my kids are taken care of, I will make sure that, it's not your business. I think what it boils down to is a lot of people will still want that control over the ex. They still want to know that there's a possibility between you two. So they use children as a leverage.
Okay.
And no, they should never use children as a leverage, but a lot of people do it. They will use children as the medium. They will use children as leverage. They will play children on both sides. It gets real messy.
It gets messy, right? Then they don't create an environment where children's voices are heard, and they don't create a very safe and loving environment, because what they have created is an environment of fight, an environment of just this drama, an environment of you going through issues with these people, and you start to tell yourself, man, is this the kind of life I want to be in?
Right. Well, and it draws a wedge. You will see your child distancing themselves more and more away from you. And you don't want that. You don't want to draw a wedge, because what happens is a child doesn't know which direction to go. They don't know. They love mom, they love dad, and they feel stuck, and they can't do nothing. And that pressure should never be on a child, ever. The child should always be able to be a child until the child is mature and adult and grown. They should be able to be a child. And what happens is, we get this, oh, what did mama say? What did dad say? Right. And they're like trying to find something. It's like they're trying to find dirt all the time, so they can use it. And they'll use that child to be the mediator, the center. And you can't use your child like that. Your child doesn't want to be in the center. They just want to be loved. They just want that time with their parent.
But why do they do that, girl?
They do it, it's a form of control. It's a form of control. And they're, a lot of times they do it for attorneys. They'll do it, and they'll try to find any kind of dirt so that they can bring it to an attorney, and they can be like, listen, I want my child out of that environment or whatever. It's sad.
And that's just the way it is.
It is.
One of the things that I tell people this, okay, it's this way. Don't put your children in between. Don't. And second, look, if you messed up, move on. There's another life for you. Mm-hmm. Don't act like that's the only last women you're going to date. Don't act like that's the only last man you're going to date. You got to move on. On. Get your little horse and ride till you can't ride no more. You know what I'm saying? Because, women, look, I'm going to give you advice as a woman. Find you another man. If you want to find a sugar daddy, go for it. You're single now, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't got nothing to worry about no more. Be happy.
Hey, let's talk about that. Okay. We say sugar daddy, okay?
Okay.
you know, some people may think it's sugar, and we kept losing air, so we love you guys, and we apologize for losing electricity and everything.
You saw we was right here and it went boom.
All the electricity, so we had to reboot, redo.
Yeah. But we got on it quick. We got on it quick.
Good. But see, there's a sugar daddy. A lot of girls they say, "Oh, a sugar daddy." Let me tell you something. This is the way I think.
Okay.
If I were a single woman, okay, and I'm working my butt off.
Okay.
I'm working hard.
Okay.
If I find me a man, let me tell you something.
Me, girl, because we're going to talk about that one day.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good subject. He is going to not be a leech, a mooch, or none of that stuff. He's going to have to offer something and bring something to the table. He's going to have to want to be able to take care of me as much as I take care of him.
Okay.
He's going to have to do those things. Is it a sugar daddy? No. It's called, I don't want to work my ass off and let you sit at home and do nothing and then me pay for everything, because then it's not an equal partnership.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, you know, and I tell people that's not a sugar daddy. Just because somebody does something nice for you, takes you out.
Oh, so then I'm so glad. Thank you. Bless to the Lord. Blessings, blessings. She finally told me I'm not a sugar daddy for helping women and being there for them when they needed me the most.
No, that's not. No. Here, the way
I helped women in the past by giving them my support.
Okay, there's a difference.
You know, there was a time when women they had kids and they didn't have food and they didn't have Pampers.
Just being a good Samaritan.
And then I came and said, man, hey, man, I see you got 2 little boys and I know you're going through tough times. And let me go. I'll be back. And she goes, where you going? I said, I'll be back. She thought I was taking off because I got scared. So I went straight down to Fiesta, bought her some milk, bought her some cereal, bought her some little, stuff for the boys, bought her laundry detergent because they got to wash clothes. I bought her all the necessities that a woman needs as a single mother and spent about $150 on groceries for her. And so, look, man, I brought you this so they could hang you for 2 or 3 weeks. And she said, you know what? No one ever did that to me, Sassa. I said, man, I'm here to help. And she said, why men not like you? I said, men are not like me because they're only looking for one thing.
That's right.
They're only looking to satisfy them. But I'm not trying to satisfy me. I'm trying to satisfy my soul and the peace that I have within me.
And here's the difference.
Is that a sugar daddy?
No.
Okay.
That's just being a good person. That's a good Samaritan.
Okay.
That to me is just being a loving soul.
Thank
That's
you.
a good soul. A sugar daddy is, they know exactly what they want. They're after one thing, and the girl's after one thing. That's it.
Okay.
The girl's after his money. He's after, her golden spot. Right?
Okay.
So that's exactly what the sugar daddy, sugar baby whole thing is about. And they only want one thing from each other. He's gonna buy things and do things so that she can meet his needs, or vice versa, whatever. That's it. That's a sugar daddy.
Okay.
There is a difference between dating somebody and them saying, you know what, listen, your car is broke down. You need a new vehicle because you work hard, you're going to work, you're supporting your kids, you're doing your thing, but I know you're struggling. Let me get you a vehicle. You're damn right I'm going to take that vehicle because I'm not using you. You offered it to me. You're being a nice person. And if you were in the same situation, if you're in the same situation and I had the means, I would do the same thing for you. That's just part of being in a caring friendship relationship.
And this goes, my boo, I'm going to tell you like this. My boo came to me one time and said, hey, what's wrong with you? Why you down? I said, man, I'm going through this, and that. She goes, man, tell me what is it that I need to do to get you back up? And I told her, I said, man, I need to get back up this. And she came and she said, man, here. And I was like, man, she goes, I'm here for you, man. I'm going to be there and I'm going to help you. And then weeks later, she going through a situation.
That's what it's about.
And then I came and said, man, I'm here to help you too.
And that's how a good functioning relationship works. And a lot of people don't get it. And, you know, I even have people, oh, girls are jealous of you because, you know, your guy takes care of the bills. And wait a minute, I would never be married to a deadbeat. I would never be married to a deadbeat. Like, it is his job. Like, it's his job to pay the bills. It's his job to do those things. That's the way I look at it. It is both of our jobs to pay the bills and take care of the household. So no, you don't think I'm just there trying to use. I've been with this person for 20 years or whatever it is. Like, that's how it goes. And if you're not doing those things, you know, and I hear this a lot. Oh, well, I'm independent. Oh, you know,
a lot of women do say that they're independent.
You're independent, but you wouldn't take a little handout if your car broke down. Is that what you're saying? You know, and I hear that a lot. And there is nothing wrong. I was very independent, very, very, very independent, where I didn't even want to share my stuff because I worked my butt off for it. And I grew up very crazy. So when I left at, 14, 15 years old, I worked very hard for what I had. It took me a long time to share, to learn how to share. Now, would I ever? No, I would not ever date someone that doesn't have the drive and motivation. There is a difference between dating someone who has nothing that's motivated and dating someone who has nothing because they don't want to do nothing. There is a big difference. If you want to motivate each other and help one another, do it. Do it, because you're both striving to do the very best you can. That's what life is about. When you both reach that top, when you both reach it together, then you can help other people. That's right. What it's about. And so we have to look at it that way. It's not like, nobody should ever be like, Kelly has this or that, she has a nice... Yeah, I work for it very hard, and these are things that you build together. It's not like I just jumped in, a relationship and used some man. And, I've done that. Don't get me wrong. I've done that. I've done that. I've and forgive me because I have done that. And I have
You felt like you had used somebody because you felt like you needed to look out for you at that time.
Yeah, at that time, I worked
and you
really
honest,
hard.
man, and you honest, and a lot of women are not.
I worked very hard, but you know what? I still had food. I had to put food on the table. I had bills to pay. So if there's somebody that he offered to pay my bills, I worked for him, and he did pay my bills, and I didn't have to do nothing in return. Now, did he have that idea in his head? Maybe I didn't put it there, but you know what? That's what that's what happens. I didn't put the idea in his head, but he was giving. He was kind. He paid my bills, just like you were talking about. He was really nice. Paid them for a couple months, and I was very grateful. Very, very grateful, very thankful, and I will always cherish that. That was a really nice thing. I didn't have to give or do nothing in return. That was a friend. There is a difference, though. I wasn't sleeping with the man for the money. I wasn't doing that. That wasn't my intentions. That wasn't, it wasn't like that. So, yeah, there is a difference.
You know what? And
honesty is the best policy.
And we're getting to the end of our show. And who's your sponsor today?
Oh, yeah. So, Yami.
Okay.
So, you guys know I'm in film, and I'm about to go to Las Vegas. I need to shed some weight because ever since I moved here to Houston,
it's always Houston.
It's always Houston. I'm not kidding. I love Houston, but I will tell you, I don't know what happens here.
Okay.
But people eat, and before you know it, you've gained 25, 30, 40 pounds. So, I got this today for $100. And I'm really excited to use it. Yami has lost.
She's lost. Oh my gosh, she's lost so much weight. I've seen pictures.
Since I started here, she's lost weight, and I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Like, I need to get my act together.
She eats anything. She eats anything.
So this is it.
So this is the little package that you
$100. So if you really want to shed some weight, I'm telling you, get this for $100. Yami's phone number, and I'm gonna give it to
Put
you
it there like
right
that.
here,
Yeah.
just like this.
Put it like that, girl. Put it like that.
Pay the $100. I'm telling you, this stuff, you will shed weight. And the reason I know is because I've watched her since I come in the studio, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel terrible.
Yeah, she eats every day, all kinds of food.
She looks good.
And she still looks good. No exercise.
Yeah, no, she don't even exercise.
No
But she
exercise.
looks really good.
And that's all she takes,
This
she
is
says.
what she takes. So I'm going to start it today, actually. I'm hoping I'm not up all night.
Give it about 2 weeks and you'll see.
2 weeks. Okay.
You'll
so
see.
I'm really excited. Actually, I go to Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, so I'm hoping
You're gonna look good, and you're gonna look good. What we want to thank Yami for being your sponsor today. It's called Tejocote. That's what they sponsor. And
What?
again,
What?
Tejocote.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. She
Tejocote?
sponsors you, so that's your sponsor you for today.
Tejocote.
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 Tejocote. Okay.
$100.
$100. You know what I mean? So,
Lose weight. Feel
listen,
great.
So listen, we want to thank you guys for coming to us. Again, that phone number, if you want to reach her on the podcast, it's 713-298. What is it?
777704.
There you go.
713-298-7704. That's for Tejocote. $100 to lose weight, and I'm gonna take it.
It's a natural.
So
It's a natural. It's kind of like a peanut. So if you like peanuts, it's like a little root. It's a natural root of this fruit.
I'm allergic to peanuts. Hold
But
on.
it's not peanuts.
Oh.
It's not. It's not peanuts. So it's a natural fruit.
Okay.
From what I see,
I'm
so
excited.
it's gonna help you. But I tell your sponsor to tell you a little bit about it more, and she'll probably help you with this. Anyways,
Next week I'm gonna take this, and next week I'm gonna let you guys know.
you will go to the restroom a lot.
Oh,
you
good.
will go to the restroom a lot. You
Like
will,
number 1, 2, or 3.
all 4. Because it's gonna clean everything you ate. Everything you ate is gonna clean.
So I just want to say thank you to Ivan Studios out of Las Vegas for the voice, and I want to say thank you to DSP Dre, DSP Studios out of California for doing the song, remaking and doing Eye of the Tiger. I think it's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
And I want to thank Sassa for having me on and having this amazing platform. It's really good to help others, and I'm really excited for next week's show. We have a really cool girl coming on next week, Nicole, so we'll see you next week.
Take care, you guys. Have
Bye-bye.
a good one. We're going to go ahead and leave you on regular programming and hope you guys enjoy the music.
Oh.
We love you guys and have a wonderful, wonderful week, right?
Puff Daddy, I'll be missing you.
You want to hear that one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, let me put it back again. I didn't know if you want to hear it again, but I'll put it one more time for you just because you know what. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to put you a mix that I know you're going to love. And you know why you're going to love this mix? So we can say goodbye to people. Let me lower it down. But before we leave, I'm going to put you this mix. And I think you're going to love this mix because you said that song reminds you so much of your sister, right?
Yes.
So
When she passed away.
So she passed away. So because she passed away, we're gonna go ahead and put we're gonna be putting you a song that's gonna make you remember. Do you like Barry White, by the way?
Yes, absolutely. Who
Man,
doesn't like Barry White?
Man, you know what? I love.
White's-
You know, we play his music here, by the way.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
Okay,
let me
tell-
do this real quick.
Yeah, tell him because I'm still looking
I
for
have
the
to do
song.
this. Okay, you guys, I've got to play this. So there's a guy, and amazing music, and we're gonna be bringing his music actually into our studio. His name's Michael. His music is absolutely amazing. I have heard him. He does have his own page and all of that stuff. He has a lot of amazing followers, but I'm gonna just play a little taste of his music, and I really want you guys to listen. I would love to. I'm really gonna get in touch with him and get his actual music out there, but this guy's amazing. So
I've heard from him. Yeah. Here. Do this. Put him in there. Put him in here.
but remember, mine's different.
Oh yeah. Put him on the mic then. put him in the mic.
So this is Michael, and I guess you pronounce his name Gane, maybe? Gane? Something like that. But he is really, really good, and he did give me permission. He said it was okay that we could play, and I will be getting his music, and I'm really excited about that. So he's going to be the first person that I would be able to bring in the studio.
Awesome. Well, you know what? We really appreciate you guys. We're going to leave you with the music here so you guys can hear it. Hope you guys enjoy. Here's your song, Kelly. Let's go ahead.
All right.
Every breath you take and every move you make